Hi, I'm Robert. I'm 62 years old, retired from teaching high school English for 35 years, and I live in a quiet neighborhood in suburban Ohio. My wife Margaret passed away 3 years ago, so it's just me and my golden retriever Buster in this old house that suddenly feels too big. My daughter Emily remarried 2 years ago to a guy named Derek Paulson after her first husband, my granddaughter's father, died in a car accident when little Sophie was only 5. Sophie's 11 now, bright as a button, loves reading just like her old grandpa, and visits me every other weekend. That particular Friday evening in October, I was grading some volunteer tutoring papers when I heard frantic knocking at my front door. Buster started barking immediately. All right, I'm coming," I called out, setting down my red pen. When I opened the door, my heart nearly stopped. Sophie stood on my porch, her left eye swollen and turning purple, tears streaming down her face, her school backpack hanging off one shoulder. "Grandpa," she sobbed and collapsed into my arms. I pulled her inside quickly, my hands shaking. "Sophie, sweetheart, what happened to you? Come here, sit down." I guided her to the couch, and Buster immediately pressed against her legs, whimpering. Sophie wrapped her arms around the dog and cried harder. "Take your time, honey. Just breathe. Can you tell me what happened?" She wiped her nose with her sleeve. "It was Derek. He hit me, Grandpa." My blood ran cold. "Derek did this? Your stepfather?" "I got a B on my math test," she whispered, her voice cracking. "Just a B. It was an 87%. I studied really hard, but the test was difficult, and A B is a perfectly good grade, Sophie." "That's what I told him." Her voice rose, anger mixing with fear. "I came home and Mom was at work, and he asked to see my test. When he saw the B, his face got all red, and he started yelling." "What did he say?" "He said, 'I don't accept mediocrity in this house,' those exact words. Then he said I was lazy and stupid and that I'd never amount to anything if I kept performing like this." Fresh tears rolled down her cheeks. I tried to explain that it was a hard test, that most kids got C's, but he wouldn't listen. I grabbed a tissue box and handed it to her, my jaw clenched so tight it hurt. Then what happened? He grabbed my test and ripped it up right in front of me. Then he said I needed to learn that actions have consequences, and She touched her eye gently and winced. He backhanded me across the face. I fell against the kitchen counter. "Did he hit you anywhere else?" She nodded, pulling up her sleeve to reveal dark bruises on her upper arm in the shape of fingerprints. "He grabbed me here and shook me. He said, 'You're going to study every single night until you get straight A's. Do you understand me?'" I was so scared, Grandpa. I just nodded and ran to my room. "How did you get here?" "I climbed out my bedroom window and rode my bike. It took me 40 minutes. I didn't know where else to go." I pulled out my phone. "Sophie, I need to call your mother right now." "She won't believe me." Sophie grabbed my arm. "Last month, when Derek yelled at me for leaving dishes in the sink, I tried to tell her how mean he was being, and she said I was exaggerating. She said he's just strict because he cares about my future." "This isn't strict, sweetheart. This is abuse, and those bruises don't lie." I dialed Emily's number. She picked up on the third ring. "Dad, is everything okay?" "Emily, Sophie's here. She's hurt." "What? What do you mean she's hurt?" "Your husband hit her. She has a black eye and bruises on her arm." There was a long pause. "Dad, Derek wouldn't—" "I'm looking at her injuries right now, Emily. She rode her bike all the way here to get away from him." "Let me talk to her," Emily said, her voice tight. I handed the phone to Sophie. "Hi, Mom." I could hear Emily's voice through the speaker, sharp and disbelieving. "Sophie, what's going on? Your stepfather said you're lying about this." "Wait," I interrupted, taking the phone back. "He already knows she's gone? You've talked to him?" "He called me at work 20 minutes ago saying Sophie ran away and was probably making up stories about him. He said she was upset about her math grade." "So he admits she got a B and he confronted her about it?" "Well, yes, but Emily, I'm taking Sophie to the hospital and then we're filing a police report. You can meet us there or not, but I'm protecting my granddaughter." "Dad, don't you think you're overreacting? Maybe they just had an argument that got out of hand." Sophie grabbed the phone from me. "Mom, he hit me. He called me stupid. Why don't you believe me?" I heard Emily sigh through the phone. "Sophie, honey, sometimes when we're emotional, we can interpret things." "I'm not interpreting anything," Sophie shouted. "Look at what he did to me." "I'll meet you at the hospital," Emily said finally. "Don't call the police yet. Let's talk about this as a family first." Sophie handed the phone back to me, her face crumpling. "See? She doesn't believe me." I knelt down in front of her, looking her straight in the eyes. "I believe you, Sophie, and we're going to make sure Derek never hurts you again. I promise you that." The hospital emergency room was fluorescent bright and smelled like antiseptic. Dr. Patricia Chen carefully documented Sophie's injuries. "Sophie, tell me exactly what happened," Dr. Chen said gently, photographing the bruises. Sophie repeated her story, her voice steadier now. Dr. Chen's expression grew more serious with each detail. "The bruising patterns are consistent with her account," Dr. Chen told me quietly. "The fingerprint bruises indicate forceful gripping, and the facial contusion suggests significant impact. I'm legally obligated to report this to Child Protective Services." "Good," I said. "I was going to insist on it anyway." Emily burst through the doors, Derek right behind her. I stepped between him and the examination room. "Where's Sophie?" Emily demanded. "In there, and he's not going anywhere near her." Derek held up his hands. "Robert, I think there's been a misunderstanding. Sophie and I had a disagreement about her schoolwork, but I never—" "Don't. The doctor has photographed her injuries. They're consistent with assault." "Sophie's always been dramatic," Derek said smoothly. "She probably fell on her bike ride and is blaming me because she's angry I held her accountable." "She has fingerprint bruises on her arm," I said slowly. "Unless her bike has hands, your story doesn't hold water." Emily stepped forward. "Dad, let's not make this bigger than it needs to be. Maybe family counseling." "Your husband beat your daughter for getting a B, Emily. A B, and you want counseling." "I didn't beat her." Derek's facade cracked. "I grabbed her arm, maybe too hard, and she stumbled. It was an accident." "So you admit you grabbed her?" "I was trying to get her attention. She was being disrespectful. She's 11 years old." Dr. Chen emerged with Sophie, who immediately ran to me and away from Derek. "Mrs. Paulson," Dr. Chen said professionally, "I've completed my examination. Sophie has a black eye and grip marks on her arm consistent with physical abuse. I've filed a mandatory report with CPS." Derek's face flushed red. "This is ridiculous. I'm her stepfather. I have the right to discipline." "You have no right to hit a child," Dr. Chen interrupted coldly. "In Ohio, physical discipline that leaves marks is considered abuse. The authorities will investigate." Officer Martinez walked in. "I received a call about a possible assault on a minor." "Right here," I said, putting my arm around Sophie. "Her stepfather struck her for getting a B on a test." "That's not what happened," Derek said quickly. "She fell during a bike ride." Officer Martinez looked at the medical report, then at Sophie's face. "Young lady, can you tell me what happened?" Sophie recounted everything, her voice shaking but clear. Officer Martinez's expression darkened. "Sir, I need you to come to the station for questioning. We're opening an investigation into child abuse." "This is insane," Derek shouted. "Emily, get me a lawyer." Emily stood frozen, tears running down her face. "Derek, did you hit her? Just tell me the truth." "I was trying to teach her discipline. She needs structure. Your ex-husband spoiled her, and I'm trying to fix that." "By hitting her?" I stepped forward. "It was one time, one mistake." "One time is one time too many," Officer Martinez said firmly. "You need to come with me now." Social worker Jennifer Walsh arrived 20 minutes later. "I'm here to ensure Sophie's safety. Given the circumstances, I need to determine the best temporary placement." "She can stay with me," I said immediately. "I'm her grandfather, and she came to me for help." Miss Walsh interviewed Sophie separately, then returned. "Sophie feels safe with her grandfather. Given the documented injuries and her fear of returning home while Mr. Paulson is present, I'm authorizing temporary placement with Robert pending investigation." "What?" Emily gasped. "You can't take my daughter." "Mrs. Paulson, you're not being accused. However, your husband is, and we need to ensure Sophie's safety. You can visit her at your father's house anytime, but Sophie cannot return to a home where her abuser resides." Derek was escorted out, still protesting. Emily sank into a chair, sobbing. I knelt beside her. "Emily, I know this is hard, but Sophie needs you to protect her, not him." She looked up at me. "I didn't know, Dad. I swear I didn't know." "Now you do. So what are you going to do about it?" 3 days later, I sat in a conference room at the CPS office with Sophie, Miss Walsh, Emily, and our family lawyer, Marcus Rodriguez. "We've completed our preliminary investigation," Miss Walsh began. "Sophie, can you tell everyone what you shared with me?" Sophie took a deep breath. "Derek has been mean to me for months. In August, I forgot to make my bed. He made me stand in the corner for an hour. Last month, I got a 92 on a science test. He took away my phone and books for 2 weeks. He said I could only read textbooks." Emily's face went pale. "Sophie, you never told me." "You never asked, Mom. You always took his side." Miss Walsh slid a paper across the table. "I contacted Derek's ex-wife, Amanda Paulson. She left him 8 years ago due to controlling and abusive behavior. She had a restraining order for 2 years. Their daughter, Melissa, cut contact when she turned 18 and hasn't spoken to him in 5 years. Emily's hands shook. Why didn't anyone tell me this? Marcus leaned forward. Derek Paulson is facing felony child abuse charges. The prosecutor has reviewed the medical evidence, Sophie's testimony, and the historical pattern from his previous family. I want a divorce, Emily said suddenly. I want him away from my daughter. I should have protected her. Sophie hugged her mother. Mom, I'm sorry. No, baby. This isn't your fault. None of this is. 2 weeks later, Melissa Paulson called Emily directly. Mrs. Paulson, I heard about what my father did to your daughter. I need to testify. Emily put the call on speaker in my kitchen. What do you mean? My father did to me exactly what he did to Sophie. He was obsessed with perfection. He hit me multiple times over the years. By the time I was 16, I had an anxiety disorder. When I turned 18, I cut him out completely. Would you testify in court? Marcus asked. Absolutely, I'll tell them everything. At the preliminary hearing, Derek's lawyer tried to dismiss the charges. Your Honor, this is blown out of proportion by an overprotective grandfather, Hunt began. The medical evidence suggests otherwise, Judge Freeman said dryly. When Melissa testified, she spoke calmly about years of abuse. He would hit me for grades below an A. He controlled everything. When I got into Yale, he took credit, but I succeeded despite him, not because of him. Objection. Character assassination, Hunt shouted. This establishes a pattern, ADA Thornton countered. Mr. Paulson has a history of abusing children when they fail to meet impossible standards. Judge Freeman looked at Derek with disgust. I'll allow it. After the testimony, Judge Freeman didn't hesitate. Based on the evidence and established pattern of abuse, I'm finding probable cause for felony child abuse charges to proceed to trial. Mr. Paulson, you are to have no contact with Sophie. Bail is set at $50,000. Derek exploded. This is a witch hunt. I was teaching her discipline. Your daughter has PTSD and hasn't spoken to you in 5 years, Judge Freeman said coldly. Bailiff removed Mr. Paulson. As Derek was led away, he pointed at Sophie. This is your fault. You've ruined everything. That's enough, the judge thundered. Add witness intimidation to his charges. Emily grabbed Sophie tight. You're safe now. He can't hurt you anymore. The trial took place 6 months later. Derek pleaded not guilty, convinced he could manipulate his way out. He was wrong. The jury took less than 3 hours to convict him on all counts: felony child abuse, assault on a minor, and witness intimidation. Judge Freeman looked at Derek with cold contempt as she sentenced him. 5 years in prison for felony child abuse, 1 year for assault on a minor, 6 months for witness intimidation. Sentences to run consecutively. Upon release, you're prohibited from unsupervised contact with minors for 10 years. Derek's face went white. Your Honor, please, I made a mistake. Doesn't everyone deserve a second chance? Mr. Paulson, you had a second chance. After you abused your first daughter, you could have changed. Instead, you repeated the pattern. This is about protecting children from people like you. As Derek was let out, he tried one last time. Emily, you know I love you. We can work this out. Emily stood, her voice steady. Derek, I'm divorcing you. You hurt my daughter. Whatever feelings I had for you died when I saw her bruises. You're going to prison, and when you get out, we'll have a restraining order. You'll never come near my family again. Derek's face contorted with rage. You're making a mistake. Sophie needs structure. Sophie needs love and safety, Emily said. 2 things you could never provide. Goodbye, Derek. 6 months after sentencing, Sophie's 12th birthday party filled my backyard with laughter. After the guests left, Sophie, Emily, and I sat on the porch watching the sunset. Mom, can I ask you something? Sophie said. Do you ever regret leaving Derek? Emily was quiet for a moment. I missed the person I thought he was. But that person never really existed. The real Derek was the one who hurt you. So no, I don't regret it. My only regret is not seeing who he really was sooner. I'm proud of both of you, I said. Sophie, it took incredible courage to come to me for help. I was so scared that night, but I knew you'd believe me. Always, kiddo, always. I got my report card yesterday, Sophie said. 3 A's, 2 B's, and 1 C+ in chemistry, and I'm proud of it. I worked hard, and those grades represent my actual best effort. I'm proud of you too, Emily said. You know what matters? That you tried your best, that you're kind, and that you're healthy and happy. Grades don't define your worth. Dr. Kim says the same thing. She says I'm enough exactly as I am. We sat in comfortable silence, watching the sky change colors. Buster snored at our feet. "What do you think Derek's doing right now?" Sophie asked. "Hopefully thinking about what he's done," I said. "But probably not. That makes me sad for him." "You have a good heart, Sophie. But remember, you can feel sad for someone and still keep them out of your life. Compassion doesn't mean accepting abuse." "I know. I don't want to see him ever again." Emily squeezed her daughter's hand. "Whatever happens with Derek is his responsibility, not yours. You focus on healing and growing." "I'm working on it. Dr. Kim says healing isn't linear, but I'm getting there." "That's all anyone can ask," I said. Sophie looked at me. "Grandpa, thank you for believing me. Thank you for protecting me." "You don't need to thank me, sweetheart. Protecting you is what family does. And if anyone ever hurts you again, you come straight to me. Deal?" "Deal." Emily wiped her eyes. "I'm so sorry I didn't protect you better, Sophie. Mom, you're protecting me now. That's what matters." We stayed on that porch until the mosquitoes drove us inside. Derek was in prison, where he belonged. Sophie was healing, and Emily had reclaimed her strength. It wasn't a perfect ending. Sophie still had nightmares sometimes. Emily carried guilt, and I struggled with anger at myself for not seeing the signs earlier. But we were together. We were safe, and we were moving forward. So what did you think of Robert's story? Have you ever had to stand up to protect someone you love? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more true stories about people who fought back against injustice. Hit that notification bell so you never miss an upload.